I now call on Clare Adamson to be followed by Nanette Milne.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Can I congratulate George Adam in securing this debate this afternoon to highlight MS Week and some of the very great work that's done by the MS Society, a UK charity, across the country in dealing with this terrible disease. I have no great knowledge in this area. I'm not an activist like George who campaigns for MS. However, like many families in Scotland, I have a close family member who suffers with MS. So my main reason for speaking this afternoon is just to show solidarity with other families and carers who deal day in and day out with the sometimes devastating effects of multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis is a very, very complex disease, as George has pointed out. What we do know about it is it's the most common disabling neurological disease among young adults. It affects nearly 100,000 people in the UK. MS is most often diagnosed between people of ages of 20 and 40. So Stacey was younger even than the norm to be diagnosed at such a young age as 16. Research suggests it's a combination of genetic environmental factors that may play a role in its development, and this is why it's such a complex area that involves not only biomedical science research but also genetic research. And though we have many contributing factors that may cause MS, we simply don't have a secure cause of the disease at this time, which makes it very, very difficult to treat. And as George Adam has also pointed out, every single patient has a different experience of MS. There's also around a 2% chance of a child developing MS when its parent is affected, which is higher than might be expected in the general population. So although it's not considered a genetic disease, an inherited genetic disease, there is obviously possibly genetic factors here that we just simply don't understand. MS is almost unknown in places like Malaya or Ecuador, but it's very common in the UK, particularly in Scotland, North America, Canada, Scandinavia, Southern Australia, New Zealand. I'd like to just highlight to some of the great work that the MS Society has done. They have just produced this wonderful report that gives us a picture of what's happening around the country and gives us cause for concern and food for thought in that area. But that could not have been possible without the groundbreaking work and actually setting up a database for diagnosis for people with MS. And that project throughout the country, I think, has been groundbreaking because it provides them with a source not only of patients, and they can do these kind of surveys, but it's also invaluable to researchers who perhaps want to contact people with some of the groundbreaking treatments that are available for MS. It would be remiss of me not, as a politician, to mention the devastating impact of the welfare reforms on some people suffering with MS simply through this lack of knowledge about what the disease does, how it can affect people and how their condition can vary on a day-to-day basis. And I think some of the cases we have seen highlighted about people being really badly treated when assessing their ability to work, with the people doing so not understanding their condition has been very worrying. And I note it's not just for MS, but other neurological conditions such as motor neuron disease sufferers have faced some of the same complications, and that's something that we should be maybe putting right. One of the first questions I ever asked in this Parliament was about the guidelines for vitamin D to general practitioners, and although we still don't have a firm scientific consensus that vitamin D does play could play an important role in MS and the development of the disease, there's no doubt that the health benefits of vitamin D are well documented, and it's important that we should all be aware of the importance as a North British country a country in the Northern Hemisphere in Scotland, that we are sure that vitamin D is covered in our dietary requirements. And thank you, Presiding Officer.
Very much.